and welcome to a very special video. Today, for the first time, we're going to be taking our first look at the new Kroot Codex. What's that? What? It's actually a Tau Codex? No, I'm pretty sure it's a Kroot Codex, so I'm just going to stick with that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and go through the list first, and then we're going to get into the game. So for our Kroot boys here, we are going to be running the Daylith Sept. That is, for anyone that doesn't know, that's going to be your auxiliary sept. The main point of it is that it gives your auxiliaries access to Montkar or Kalyan, depending which one you've taken, of course, which for the Kroot is really strong. Being able to move and shoot with the extra AP in Montkar, I think that's going to be the way to go. So we've taken that. Our warlord today is represented by my Kroot Farsight proxy. He's actually going to be an enforcer commander. And I'm just going to go through him in a little more detail than the other stuff, because let me tell you guys, I have made him a monster. So what you do to make an absolutely insane melee commander is you take the enforcer commander. So he now has 2 up armor and -1 damage. He's got 7 wounds, so he's already quite tanky with that. You give him the shield generator for the 4+ invuln. Then you give him the Onager Gauntlet Relic, which gives him strength 12 -3 for 3 damage attacks in melee. Which, okay, that's now quite respectable. It used to only be 1 shot, but it doesn't stop there, because then you give him the, 1 second, it is, sorry, the name on this is weird and hard to find. It's the Thermoneutronic Projector, so that you have to give him a flamer, and then this is an upgrade on the flamer. And it's Assault D6 +2, Strength 4, AP2, Damage 2, but what's cool is you get that in melee as well. So you're averaging an extra, 5 attacks on top of your already 4, and they're all at respectable, damage and AP and all that. So he's now rocking like 9 attacks, which is insane. It's insane and mega durable. And I think that's going to come into play in this game. I think it's really cool to have a super punchy, fighty character in a Tau army. I think a lot of people aren't going to expect that. Then I've also just given him one of those new upgraded plasma guns just for a little bit of shooting. So moving on from there, we have our Kroot Shaper, because of course Kroot Shapers are now HQs. And we've given him the Kroot Warlord trait, which is called the Pack Leader, which is the same as it used to be, and it is Kroot units within 6 roll an extra d6 for their charge and discard the lowest. So that's pretty good for letting your Kroot get into combat faster. Shapers also let Kroot reroll once to hit. And I have also given this guy the Relic. I paid for the extra Relic and the extra Warlord trait. Oh, this is going to kill me. It's called Kachaktar. Oh, terrible name. But it's basically a Kroot sniper rifle. Rapid fire 2, strength 5, AP2, damage 2, ignores, lookout, sir, 6 is to wound, deal 1 mortal wound. So a little 25-point character. I think that's a pretty solid upgrade. After him, we have the new Ethereal, and I think an Ethereal with a Kroot army is pretty good. They're pretty easy to represent with a Kroot kit bash, and one of their litany type things, they're called invocations, is Unifying Mantra, and that gives, it's Power of the Tides. Power of the Tides, and it gives +1 to wound for a Tau auxiliary unit within 6, and that's shooting or melee. So pretty solid buff there. If you can get that on some Krootoks or some carnivores, that's going to be good. The other one I've taken is just the Sense of Stone, which is now a 5+ Feel No Pain, but that is just for Tau Empire core. So in this army, that might be the broadside, so you could put that on, but that'd be pretty much it. So moving on from there, we've got 3 units of 10 Kroot carnivores. These, I think they are super solid. Honestly, 60 points for what you get out of these is just insane. Their melee is upgraded. They got 2 attacks. They got AP1. They still get their 7-inch pregame move. They now get an extra +1 save when they're in cover, putting them to a 4-up save. So pretty solid. You can't really ask for much more than that for 6 points a model. It's pretty good. So I think they're going to be really good this game for zoning out charges and blocking things. And then if they get the chance, you'll see here, you can layer a lot of buffs on them, and you can actually make them fight pretty decent, considering how cheap they are. So I think they're going to be good. We've got 3 units of them. Moving on from that, we have 3 Krootoks. And again, the Krootoks massively upgraded. You've probably already seen. They now have their Rampaging Beast stats just baked in. So they're 4 attack space, strength 6, AP2, damage 2. And so that's quite solid. And they're only 25 points a model. Again, there's more ways than ever to buff that up. There's ways for them to get heroic interventions, and their gun's also pretty solid. So I think for 25 points a model, they're again just a super cheap fighty unit, and they also get that all Kroot units get that pregame move now, so they're surprisingly fast. They're surprisingly durable. They're like an annoying amount of wounds and toughness, so I think they're going to be solid as well if you can get them in the right spot. We have we have 1 unit of 10 Kroot hounds. I messed up when I made this list, and I thought that I could have 2 units of 5. And I actually believe, or actually, you know what? I think that I can. There you go. I think I'm gonna correct myself here. You're gonna hear me say it later in the video, but I'm mistaken. So because of the way it works now, when you take a unit of carnivores, that unlocks free slots for the other Kroot units, so you don't have to take up slots with them. So I can actually take these Kroot hounds for free. So that's cool. So I actually do have room to take them now. So I have 2 units of 5, and like I said, you'll hear me correct myself later, and I'll say, oh no, I should have been using them as a unit of 10, but no, I'm double wrong, and I can do this. So 2 units of 5 hounds again. Their melee is not going to kill anything, but they're just another super fast, annoying screening unit. And I think they're going to be able to again, they're going to be able to jump on a point. They're going to be getting engaged on all fronts. They're going to be blocking things. I think for 6 points a model, you can't ask for much more than that, and I think they're going to do their job. Moving on from there, we have 10 Pathfinders. You now have to take them in units of 10, so a little bit less flexible there, but they're solid. I have the 3 railguns in here. Those are quite punchy now. They're flat 3 damage. And the way marker lights work now, you are going to want to have some in the army, I think. You don't need too many, but now it's basically each model that has one shoots it in the movement phase. It just hits on a 3-up, and then that gives you a marker light counter on that target. And then for like, if it's got one counter on a marker light counter on it, then one other unit can shoot that unit and they get +1 to hit, and then the counter goes away. So if you want to have a bunch of units firing in, focusing on one thing, you're going to want to stack a bunch of marker lights on that so that everybody gets the buff. So I said we got 3 of them with the railguns. The rest just have the normal carbines with the marker lights, kept it simple, and they've got their one, what's it called, the recon drone with them. Moving on from there, we have 2 tetras. Again, they're just a super fast, annoying unit. I think they're interesting because they also have marker lights and a little bit of incidental shooting, so hopefully they can do something. We have, and then, so now we're into heavy support. We have 1 Great Narlock. Unfortunately, he's Legends model, so he hasn't got the auxiliary keyword yet. So certain buffs aren't going to work on him, but he is still Kroot, so the Shaper can still buff him, and he can still do some other fun things. So we've got him. We've got the 2 broadsides. Essentially, they're the same. They're just lots of shots, firing down range, lots of missiles. But the cool thing is they're infantry now, so they can take advantage of hiding in ruins. So they're actually going to be like a 1-up save, hiding in cover. It's pretty nuts. They've got 4 shield drones with them, so they're going to be super durable, super annoying. They also got a couple extra wounds, so yeah, that adds up too. And then last but not least, we have the Kroot Riptide. Again, he's not that changed from what he used to be. You know, some of the upgrades and things that you can put on him, they're a bit different. You can't give him the 3-up invuln anymore, but he's just a big, tough boy with a lot of shots. What's cool is him and the broadsides actually have a tiny bit of melee now, so if they get charged by something, and if they manage to live, they might be able to do a couple wet noodle slaps back, and maybe even like kill a Chaos Marine or something, so that's pretty cool. His gun is flat 4 damage now when you overcharge it, so that's really nice. And yeah, that is the whole list. You know, last time we played the World Eaters, they got the Kroot got slapped pretty hard, but I think they got a lot better chance this time, and that's why we wanted to play this match. So let's jump over to the World Eaters and see what they're bringing today. Okay, so for the forces of the World Eaters, and they are back with a vengeance. We brought a bit of a scarier list than last time to compete with these new and upgraded Kroot, but honestly, they beat the Kroot really bad last time. So, you know, if any, like, you know, the Kroot might be, you know, thinking they're hot stuff in melee now, but these are World Eaters. I think they're going to tear up pretty much anything they get into combat with. So, leading our force today, we have my new and improved Lord Discordant. This one, you know, was Duncan Rhodes approved, so you know, not meaning to flex on you guys there, but it was probably my proudest hobby moment right there. So we've got him. He's got the true Berserker Warlord trait, as well as the burning Talisman of Burning Blood. So he's going to be extra fast and extra durable in melee. And for anyone that knows Lord Discordants, they're super killy anyway. So he's going to be good for just zooming up the board and fighting whatever he can. Beside him, we have my Dark Apostle. He's going to be handing out the -1 to hit on a certain unit, and that's just going to help counter that marker light play. I forget what the name of it is off the top of my head, but he's got it, whatever it's called. And then he has the little disciples with him. So into troops, we have 2 units of 5 Khorne Berserkers, nice and simple. They're all axe and chainsword. They're just going to be running up the board, and again, they are just absolute blenders. Like 5 Berserkers can probably kill 20 Kroot, or really anything they need to. You can stack so many buffs on them, it's just insane. So you definitely have to watch out for them. Then we have 2 units of 5 normal Chaos Space Marines, again just bare bones, except that each unit has a heavy bolter. I think that's going to be good against things like the Krootoks and the Tetras, the Strength 5 and the AP and the 2 damage. I think that's good for dealing with those sorts of things. Coming up after that, we have 2 World Eater Hellbrutes, and these things are pretty nuts. They both have Power Scourges and Twin Las Cannons, so a little bit of anti-tank shooting down range, things like the Riptide and the broadsides, and then in melee they have something insane like 9 attacks at like flat 3 damage, so they're pretty nuts. Again, they're going to kill, and that's the theme of the World Eaters. Anything they get in combat with, they're going to win. After that, and this is completely overkill, but I have 5 Red Butcher Terminators. These are the Berserker Terminators. You pay 2 CP at the start of the game to upgrade them, and they now double fight. They're what you see is what you get. There's one with a chain fist, 2 with power fist. The other 2 have smaller weapons, but they are just going to absolutely, completely overkill anything. They could probably fight the whole army in one go and kill everything. Like, it's pretty insane. But so yeah, they're pretty good. And then we have, oh, I forgot to mention, we have the 3 Chaos Bikers. And last game, these were just an absolute menace. They're super fast. With the chain swords and with buffs, they can have quite a lot of attacks. They got a lot of bolter shots. They can clear out a lot of carnivores and hounds and things. So if they get into the screens, they're probably going to make a big hole. And they're really fast, so they can get on back points and stuff. So those will be something to watch out for sure. And then finally, we have my other Defiler. Last game, we brought the Spider Boy. This time, we brought the Thick Boy. He's big, he's durable, he's really good in melee, he's got a lot of shots. You can give him things like the Demon Forged and +1 to hit from the Lord Discordant. So with buffs, he can pretty much, he can do work in all phases, and he's just a big thing they're definitely going to have to deal with. So yeah, that is our World Eaters list. Obviously a lot more elite than the Kroot side of things, but everything in here is just an absolute monster. So we'll have to see how things go. All right, let's jump into the game. Okay, so just before we get too far into the game, I'm just going to talk a quick little bit about what exactly is going on here. So we're playing a 5 objective mission, which are represented by my newly painted scions here. So you can imagine there's a bit of a narrative going on that the Kroot are probably employed by the guard to come and rescue their stranded comrades, and the World Eaters are probably the reason that they're stranded. So we've got 5 objectives, we've got 1 in each zone, we've got 3 across the middle. As far as terrain, we've got 4 of these barricades. So these are going to give light cover, which is, +1 to your save, and then they're going to be the difficult terrain, so -2 to move across. And then we've got the 4 big buildings. Those are going to be your standard ruins. They're going to be obscuring if you're behind it, light cover if you're in it, and they'll be breachable for infantry. So Kroot did win the roll-off. As you can see, I have just started doing the pregame moves. I'm not done yet. That's something to keep in mind, that all Kroot units now, obviously except our Legends boy here who hasn't been updated yet, all the Kroot units get their pregame move now, so that's 7 inches. They get to pregame move. A couple of them had to go over this barricade here, so it was only 5, but it was just enough to get over and start going up. And obviously these guys haven't moved yet, so that's a really powerful thing to keep in mind, that your little Kroot troops are now extremely fast, potentially moving 14 plus in advance or whatever on turn 1. Also, real quick, I did select Mont Ka. I just think that makes the most sense for sure for a Kroot army. So turns 1, 2, and 3, we're counting as stationary, and then we're also getting a +1 AP if we're within the certain ranges. So I will catch you guys back at the end of my movement phase, just for a quick update there, and then we'll go into shooting and all that. So see you in a minute. Okay, so it's the end of Kroot shooting phase 1, and wow, all the new buffs have really come together to make them pretty decent at shooting. So whereas before these little carnivores wouldn't have really had a chance against Space Marines in cover, we actually managed to kill all 5 of those Chaos Marines that were hiding over there in cover. That was a combination of the Krootoks, which now have 2 shots apiece standard. It's not rapid fire anymore. And these guys. Now, both units were getting reroll 1s to hit from the Shaper. These guys had +1 to wound from the Ethereal. He did get his invocation off. These guys were within 18 inches for the extra AP for Mont Ka. And yeah, so it all came together to be pretty good. We also managed to kill most of the Marines over here, 4 of the Berserkers and 3 of the regular Marines. That was a combination of some little pot shots from these guys and the broadside shooting in. There wasn't really any stratagems to use to make that more effective than it already was, and I did mess up in the last bit there. Because these guys moved, they weren't able to use their marker lights. You have to do it at the start of your movement phase, not the end. So when they moved over there, they were no longer able to do it. That's why the Pathfinders remained stationary. They were able to actually shoot their marker lights onto those Marines because they were just peeking around the corner there. And so even though the Dark Apostle, he actually put his -1 to hit on them, but then the +1 to hit that the marker light gave canceled that out. So it all kind of it comes and goes, it kind of works out. And actually, sorry, I said that wrong. The marker lights that he put on them didn't affect them at all, because there's a warlord trait for the sept that would have let them do that, but I don't have that. The marker lights only affected the smart missiles from him were able to go into them, and I think I shot them first, and it killed like 1 guy, so it didn't really do too much. But it was kind of interesting to see how marker lights work in all Kroot army. Honestly, probably not really going to be essential. I just wanted to bring them to kind of mess around and see if I really found it helpful. I do have a couple suits today, so yeah, we're gonna now switch over to World Eaters, and I will come back at the end of their movement phase, turn one. As far as points, I have not. Let me see. I guess I am currently holding 3 for decisive, so I would get points for the decisive. My 2 of the last targets are all alive, and as far as rod, I was only able to do it in this quarter over here with these troops that were just chilling. So I've done that in 1 quarter for points for that. So yeah, so we're looking pretty good here for the Kroot, but there's going to be quite a counterpunch coming in from these guys, and of course, if the Terminators do come down and make their charge, that's going to be pretty bad for whoever. I didn't quite have the troops to completely screen out the back line, so they might end up back there somewhere. So it'll be interesting to see where we go. Okay, we're into World Eaters turn 1, and yeah, things are looking kind of rough. We had, good lord, that just looks like so much Kroot, doesn't it? It's not over yet. We still have all of our bigger, scarier units over here, but they are just not, I don't think they're fast enough to get over there, but we'll see. We're going to do what we can do. We had some unfortunate morale over here. We actually lost another 3 infantry models. That whole Berserker unit ran, as did 2 more, or 1 more, from that unit of Marines. These bikers are able to move up and they're able to start threatening here, but they're going to have to be really careful because of the heroic intervention potential from other Kroot units. So we obviously have to make a play for points here at this point, but yeah, it's looking kind of rough. Our Lord here, Lord Discordant, is extremely fast with the advance and charge. He actually rolled fairly low. I think it was a 3, but he has the potential to start coming over here and causing some mischief. Having to, of course, be very, very wary of the big guns over here. We're trying to scoot around here and evade it for as long as we can. There was a thought to just go all in the middle, but even if you kill this stuff, that's the value of the Kroot, right? They're so cheap. There's so many different bodies and units all bogging up. Even if you kill 2 or 3, you're just going to get blasted by what's left. So we're going to need to do some smart plays here to have a chance. Kroot OP? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll come back at the end of World Eater shooting. There's not going to be too much of it. Oop. Little gem falling over here. Stand up, sir. I know the Kroot are mighty scary these days, but there's no excuse to be falling over. So, since it was pretty quick, I went ahead and did the shooting and charge phase all at once for the World Eaters, and it went about as well as expected. You know, they are Space Marines, they're fairly accurate, but they did not have a lot left. So, between our Defiler popping Demon Forge, the little couple autocannon shots from him, we were able to kill, it looks like, I think about 5 Kroot carnivores, and I think about 3 or 4 Pathfinders from that unit. These guys, unfortunately, I actually put on them Veterans of the Long War for +1 to wound, and they still only managed to kill 1 Kroot from this unit, 1 or 2. It was really sad. They did not want to hit. They missed really bad. The Hellbrute, between the Hellbrute and the Chaos Marine, we were able to perfectly kill 1 Tetra. So yeah, it was something. We had a potential for a really long charge over to here. I think it was a 10. Failed that. They made it fine. Unfortunately, there was no way to get in there because obviously bikes can't go into ruins, where the Krootoks weren't going to be able to pile in. So this is going to be the end of our Chaos Marines. We're going to see how many they can take with them. Incredibly, these guys actually made their charge all the way from over here through the -2 move terrain. I think they needed a 9, so an 11 with that, and they actually rolled an 11, so that was pretty cool. And then he also made his charge. It was also pretty good. I think he needed an 8, just enough to get around there. So like I said, we're going to kill a couple small units here, but I don't think it's going to be enough to make a difference. But you never know. We'll see how much is left, and we'll come back. We'll probably just come back at the start of the Kroot turn 2. I'll do a quick summary then. So. Okay, so things are are not looking well for the poor World Eaters. I cannot believe what a big difference these little buffs to the crew are making. Like it is just insane. So those bikers that charged in, even though I popped several stratagems on them to make them more fighty, completely failed to kill even 1 Krootox. They got it down to 1 wound. those Krootoks were now hitting with 5 attacks each because they were able to do the heroic intervention. Strength 6, AP 2, damage 2. They killed those bikes like 3 times over. Like, it wasn't even a question. And that was like my only hope. I was like, maybe they can kill a Krootox or 2 and then somehow live through it all and be annoying. And like, no, not even close. Over here, obviously those hounds, no problem. Get rid of them. A couple things ran from morale. We lost a couple more Kroot. No big deal. This is insane too. And I like triple checked because I didn't think this was right. So the new strike and fade stratagem that lets you shoot and then move. So I just went ahead and did it early because I'm not shooting at all. Because honestly, I think the game's going to be over at this. So it doesn't say at all in there that you can't charge. So if you've made an insane melee commander like I have, you can move, shoot, and then charge. So, and it's just anyone that has a jetpack, and obviously all the battlesuit commanders have a jetpack. So he moved from all the way over here, he moved his 8 inches, and then he would have shot, but I'm just skipping that because it doesn't matter at all. And then he gets to move another 6 inches, and then he's going to charge. So look at that crazy movement he got. And normally it would be like, oh, no big deal, because why would Tau ever be charging anything? But now when you have something really scary like this, and I'm probably not even going to need him because the Riptide is lined up, and it's probably going to be lights out anyway, but in case he's needed, that's super viable. I haven't even finished moving everything yet. This stuff all over here still has to shift around, but yeah, I can't believe how one-sided this is. Now, obviously, this is against Chaos Space Marines. They are not a good faction at all, but I wanted to do this matchup because we played this almost exact same match, a little bit smaller game a while ago, and it wasn't even close. The Kroot got absolutely wrecked, and it didn't matter. Like I said, I haven't even been hardly using any of the new stratagems because I haven't had to. The buffs and the changes to everything have just been so good already, and a lot of them haven't been really relevant. Like a lot of them are more like they're for specific units, and I don't have those specific units. I did now. The Krootoks have a 5-up Feel No Pain. It's a Grizzly Feast, 1 CP. If a Kroot unit kills something in melee, they get a 5-up Feel No Pain. So they killed those Vikers. They've got that. Like I said, he just used that strike and fade to move closer. Some of the battle suits and stuff, they have cool things like if they got charged, but that's probably never going to happen this game. So yeah, we'll come back at the end of maybe we'll just come right back at the end of the Kroot turn because this is probably going to be over real quick, but we'll see. I'll see you guys in just a sec. Okay, so I went ahead and jumped ahead because I'm just saving everybody the trouble of watching how vicious these Kroot are. Holy smokes! Yeah, I did not think it would be this bad. But basically, if you remember down here, we're all the way into the end of World Eaters turn 3, I think this is. Like, it doesn't even matter at this point. Like, but I'll just really quickly catch everybody up. So if you remember, there was a Lord Discordant here a minute ago. And I'd done this really cool thing where I'd zoomed the commander all the way over here because he's an amazing fighter, and I thought he would get to fight him. Never even got to fight him. Between him, with his new flat damage 4 on the overcharge, and them with their railguns, flat damage 3, gone. Not even close. The little bit of sporadic fire into the berserkers that were here. I think it killed 1. The 2 Hellbrutes here both died in shooting. I moved the 3 Krootoks up here because I thought that would be cool to have a fight. Nope. Between their shooting, which was being buffed by the Shaper again, and they're now they were within close enough range that they were getting extra AP. The shots from here, which were in range, so they were getting extra AP. The shots from these guys over here, the shots from the broadsides, which poked around, which hopped down over there to be able to get line of sight, wasn't even close. All the Hellbrutes died. Now he rolled an epic 12 on his charge, so he got to come over and fight these berserkers. When was the last time you saw a Tau commander kill 4 berserkers in melee? It wasn't even close. He didn't even use the flamer relic. He just used the fist and boom, punched all 4 of them to death. So now we went to World Eater's turn, and we just want to see how it plays out. We're just having fun now. This guy did all his shots. What did he do? He actually killed. He used Demon Forge again. He killed 2 of the Krootoks. So there's 1 left on full wounds. He killed. What did he do? He actually, I think he failed to kill any carnivores. He rolled a 1, which turned into 3 shots. And then he only wounded with, I think, 1, and then they made the 6-up save because they're in cover. So they were fine. Shit, I didn't even roll the Feel No Pains on these Krootoks. Oh, Lord. Yeah, so let me see here. So that would have been, so the first guy, this is going to be rough. So it was 3 shots that went through from a heavy bolter, 2 damage each. So the first guy only had 1 wound left, so, okay, so he's definitely dead. And then the next guy, if I make even 1 of these, he's actually still alive. Made 1. So, my bad. There's actually a Krootox left alive on 1 wound. So it's even worse than I thought. The Terminators came down. They had nowhere to come down. That was good. They could have maybe came down back here and tried to charge on him, but honestly, with the 9-inch range, there wasn't really much of a bubble there, and it's kind of pointless. They came down here. They put all their shots into those carnivore squad over there. I think looks like they killed 7. They attempted to charge on the Krootoks, and they failed. So that's where we ended with that. We haven't done the morale yet over there, and we're just going to see, we're going to roll up this combat here. With all the defensive buffs on him, normally I would give it to the Defiler anytime, but honestly now I'm like fuck, the pilot, probably won't even kill him now. This giant ridiculous robot probably can't even kill this guy anymore. So we'll come back and it'll probably just be the end of the game, and we'll probably just talk through it. We'll do a little summary. This is my first outing with the Codex at all. I'm sure I got plenty of things wrong. There's probably plenty of things I could have done better. I mean, I'm playing with mostly Kroot here, but I think we had enough Tau units to get kind of a feel of what you can do with this thing. And honestly, I'm not even just being silly because obviously I love Kroot. I think legit a good amount of Kroot supporting your Tau guns, I think that's vicious. I think these things are so ridiculously cheap, and you can buff them up so much now. You can get so much value out of them. To have them as your screen for your good guns, and then your guns now are so mobile. They're so independent. Like I had some marker lights here. I never even really felt like I needed them too much with the other buffs and synergies going on. But yeah, it's easy to get marker lights. Like if you got a big unit of Pathfinders, I did have the 3 from that tetra if I wanted it, and there's other ways to get them here and there. Like a Fireblade would be good for it. You're never going to not have them if you want them. So yeah, it was pretty insane. Like I said, we're just going to roll this up. I'll let you know how that goes, and then we're probably going to be end of the game here, and we'll just have a little chat about it at the end. All right, so yeah, we're just going to summarize quick how that all ended. Turns out the Defiler did manage to kill the commander, but I'm not even lying. I spent pretty much all the rest of the CP that I had available. I gave him Exploding Fives. I did Demon Forge, and he barely killed him. Like I think he killed him by like one extra attack failed. Like even if I would have re-rolled a 4-up and one save, like he could have lived. It was pretty insane. So yeah, that did not go how I thought it would. I did not think it would be quite that one-sided. I didn't think I was taking a lot of good units, and I honestly, I usually have really good luck with the World Eaters. They can just kill anything they run into. And yeah, I'm not used to fighting an army that's that mobile and that lethal, both at shooting and then it's like just enough melee where you need it. It was vicious. Now, like, there's definitely going to be other armies are going to have a better time. Like, this is not a representation of how this codex is going to be, like, in the meta. Obviously, I know that. Like, I just played this because this is, like, a grudge match now because the World Eaters beat them so bad last time, and now we're seeing how badly the Kroot are beating them. So there is going to be at least one more game on the channel in the next couple weeks, guys, and I'll play something a lot stronger. Maybe I'll play Ultramarines, maybe Imperial Knights. Like, that could be really different, trying to fight a lot of really big, tough bodies with this Kroot force. So maybe let me know in the comments what you guys would like. Options I have available to me are Orcs, Ultramarines, Imperial Guard, and Imperial Knights. So yeah, I think that's a pretty decent variety there. And yeah, so maybe let me know what you guys think would be the best match for going forward. Unfortunately, like I said, I didn't get to actually even show off a lot of the cool things you can do in this codex because the Kroot just stomped so hard. And that leads me to my last talking point. Like, so this is my very first impression with the Codex. This is the very first learning. Like I said, like there's so much here to dig into that I didn't even get to look at. There's tons of models that I don't even own, obviously. Lots of Kroot conversions to come, of course. But first impressions, I gotta say, I think the Kroot are solid, guys. I think all of them have their place in a Tau army. Now, I'm sure in a competitive army, it's not going to be nearly as much as I'm going to bring. I think it's going to be, maybe 3 or 4 units at the most of Kroot. But I think all of them have their place and all of them are solid. The carnivores are so ridiculously cheap. Even if they do nothing but run up and screen and jump on a point, they're worth it. It's 60 points. They're the cheapest infantry you have. You take them in big blobs, and you can now stick them in cover to make them a little bit more durable and a little bit more annoying. And it's like an opportunity unit, as I would call it. Like, even if you throw them up and they sit on a point and they move block and they screen out your guns, then that's perfect. They've made their points back. And if the enemy doesn't deal with them, which they should, they're super easy to kill. If they don't, though, you can just stack the buffs on them like crazy, and they can actually do some legit damage to a lot of units. Like, 20 carnivores into Space Marines, like, they're probably going to kill the Space Marines, or they're going to almost kill them. Like, they can definitely kill some stuff. With the buffs you can get +1 to wound. There's 2 places to get extra attacks. They now have AP. Like, that's all you need to make a solid, scary little combat unit. And +1 strength as well. Like, you can buff them up good. And the same with the Krootoks. Now, I like the Krootoks even better for that, and especially like what we saw in this game where they were able to get that heroic intervene off, because they've got such a small footprint. Like 3 little Krootoks. It's like I've heard other people say it too. It's like the brick behind a corner tactic, right? Like, you leave something squishy, or even if it's just the carnivores themselves, like in this game, like it's like, yeah, go ahead and charge them, and as soon as you charge in, then boom, these guys swing around the corner, and there's not, like, it would have to be like, obviously, you're going to pick your targets and you're only going to do it when it makes sense, but you know, a lot of units aren't going to be able to kill your carnivores and your Krootoks, and then they're going to have to pick between killing the obsec bodies on the point or killing the thing that's going to kill them back. Because again, those Krootoks, man, they dogpile in with 5 attacks each with that stratagem. They are wrecking a lot of things. And then God forbid if you got that +1 to wound or something on them, vicious little monsters. You know, obviously going into things like maybe a Redemptor Dreadnought with the -1 damage, like, yeah, they're not going to do that much. But, like, they're dirt cheap, too. Again, like, it's all these things. They're so dirt cheap. Same with the Shaper. Shaper is a 25-point HQ that gives rerolls to the Kroot. He potentially can give them the +1 strength and +1 attack if he's got that relic, or you give him the sniper like I did. Now, again, mine didn't get to do that much this game, but it's 4 shots, strength 5, AP2, damage 2 with that sniper rifle. If he just pops 2 Marines with that, which is very likely, he could do that in 1 shot, or he could do it in 2 shots through the game and ignores look at cert. Like, so easy to get his points back with that. And that's on top of the rerolls and top of everything else. So, like, he's always going to be worth it, in my opinion, if you're running Kroot. And then the Hounds, like I said, I messed up this game. There was supposed to be a unit of 10. Obviously, I would have had one too many fast attack choices for just a single battalion in this. But I think that min units, or maybe units of 5, just running all over the board and move blocking, like you saw several times. And I think I didn't even point it out a couple times, but like those little units of 4 or 5, you just make little walls in the gaps between buildings and stuff. And you don't care. Like, it's 24 points for a unit of 4. And you block up these big chunks. Like, you zoom them up like crazy turn 1. And yeah, like, they're going to get you points for things like engage on all fronts or whatever, or they can tie up things that the rest of your army couldn't get to in time. They're awesome. They are super solid. Now, for the suits, again, like, I didn't get to see a lot of it in this game, but like at the end there when I did that extra movement with the commander, that would have been amazing in game to get that extra bit of movement, whether you're running away or if you make this, like, I can't believe what an amazing combat character you can make out of a Tau commander now. Like, he is scary. He's scarier than a lot of like Space Marine or even Custodes characters. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy what you can do with him now if you stack a couple things on him, and he's mega durable. And then he's giving reroll 1s to core units as well, so he's a solid little buffer in his own right. And that's just one build. Like, I went for the all melee like kind of silly build, but you could there's lots of different. All the commanders do different things now. There's ways you can give obsec to crisis suits and things like that. The cold star is obviously faster, so if you made the melee guy your cold star, you could maybe get some cool play there. So he's solid. The weapon upgrades are solid. What you can do with them, there's so much variety. You can really make your own, and it's a kit basher's dream, right? If you're making this melee guy, you're like, I have a plan to make an actual one, because I was using my Farsight proxy this time, obviously. But yeah, so you can do that. That's awesome. The broadsides, basically they're the same as they always were, but that switch to infantry is huge to get that extra +1 to their save. I really enjoyed that. And I think that just, it just makes them work a little bit better at what they already were, which was a sit in the back and blast away. And now if they get charged, they can now punch a little bit. So I enjoyed that a lot. And I guess last but not least, like the Riptide is the same as he's always been. He's big, he's super durable, and his guns are going to kill shit. Like the overcharged ion gun is super good, and you can get, you can get the +1 to hit on him with marker lights and whatever. And if you Nova charge that thing, so now it goes to 8 shots, 4 damage flat. Like, that's scary. That's a scary, scary gun. It's going to kill most things in the game. So overall impressions, super fun. It's a super dynamic army. I think mixing in a lot of Kroot is a good idea. I think the changes and buffs to the suits are all good and welcome. And yeah, overall impression was a lot of fun. I'm excited to play a lot more games with it, and I hope to have a couple more up on the channel for you guys to see. So let me know what you think in the comments down below, and what you think reading through the Codex yourselves. And just last but not least, I would like to mention there is a Average Joe Kroot Dude Patreon. The link for that is down below. If you like what you see and you want to support me and, maybe help me upgrade my cameras and things so these things aren't such ridiculously potato quality, maybe I can afford to spend a little more time and effort and make them better for you guys. I appreciate it. And of course, there's bonuses for people that do sign up for that. So thanks for watching, and get out there and enjoy your Kroot. Have some awesome games. Bye for now.